Adam Saenz. Hey everybody, Adam Saenz here. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Word of the Week. So let's jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, the Word of the Week this week is, drum roll, Persevere. Persevere is the Word of the Week, and congratulations to Sherry or Cherie H of Westfield. So that was her word. She said, hey, Adam, you need to break down this word. And I said, you know what? That's a good idea. So Sherry or Cherie, I am going to hook you up with a copy of The Power of a Teacher, a copy of the EQ Intervention, and a Starbucks gift card. So thanks for sending me the word. So let's look at the PowerPoint again and talk about this word. What does perseverance mean? It means, perseverance, it's a verb, continue in a course of action, even in the face of difficulty or with little or no prospect of success. It's from the Latin, perseverare, meaning to abide by strictly. So that's the word, and that's what it means. Now, how can persevere make my life better this week? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift into my coach mode. I coach high school track and field, and so I'm going to give you an analogy from the 400-meter race. No one wants to run the 400. You know, everybody wants to run the 100, and they want to anchor the 4x1. That's the sexy race. And then you have middle distance, 800 mile, and then the distance runners, mile, 2 mile. But nobody wants to run the 400 because it's like no man's land. If you run the 400 properly, it's a wide open sprint from gun to tape. It's wide open, and nobody wants to run it. So I'm going to show you a little race plan for the 400, and then I'm going to tell you how persevere, how that word relates to you in this situation. So let's go back to that PowerPoint. This is phase one of the 400. You'll see there that first 100 meters is you coming out of the curb here, and basically all you're doing is you're here is establishing your form and your pace. Then you come over here. That's phase two. That's called the float, and you don't back down on your speed. You just relax into your form. Then you get to phase three, and phase three is where you reaccelerate. And really, just to maintain your pace, you have to pretend that you're starting the race over again. You dig down, and it feels like you're working harder than you ever were. Like maybe you're even speeding up, but you're not because you're so tired. You have to exaggerate just to keep pace. And then phase four is, I call that the come to Jesus phase. You know, and right where this black arrow is, you're going to have possibly an out-of-body experience. So we, my friends, are in phase four of this school year. You know, we started off back in August, September. You know, we established our form, we established our pace, made it through the float phase. We re-accelerated and started the race over in January, and now we're in the come to Jesus phase. It's just like, you know, just holding on for dear life, right? So what I tell athletes in that last phase, in the come to Jesus phase in phase four, is just focus on your form. Don't worry about your kick. Just focus on keeping your mechanics straight. All of your mental and physical energy should be just to maintain your mechanics. Because if you maintain your mechanics, you're less likely to reduce in speed, right? The goal is not to speed up, it's just not to lose speed. And so you've got to maintain your mechanics, you have to exaggerate. It feels like you're doing this with your arms, and really, because your lactic acid is so built up, you're barely keeping form. So you really have to exaggerate all of your motions in that last 100 just to keep pace, or just to keep form so that you can keep pace. So that's it, is you focus on your form that last 100, and then you run the race, and then you're done. So I think back to the word perseverance and what it means to me, let's get back to that, the Latin, where was that? There it is, from perseverare, meaning to abide by strictly. So what perseverance means for me in this season, this part of the school year, is that it's focus on form. It's abiding strictly by the basics. You know, what are my basic functions as an educator? You know, whether I'm an administrator, classroom teacher, school psychologist, whatever I do, what are the basics? And let me just stick to the basics, you know, and abide strictly by just the basics. And what I mean by that is, don't underestimate the power of just logging onto a computer and letting the students know that you're there. This idea of the power of just showing up. In the same way that 400-meter runner just coming down the backstretch, focus on the basics, focus on your form, exaggerate the simple things just to stay in the race. That's what we're doing now, is we are persevering. We are abiding by strictly to our basics, whatever our basics are in instruction. That's what we're doing right now. So just be thinking about that. This isn't that perseverance isn't about, being a rock star and making all these deep, profound, meaningful relationships in this very tiring season of the school year. If you can do that, great. But if you feel like you're just hanging on and you can barely do the minimum, I'm here to tell you that perseverance means that just doing the minimum, you're killing it. You're killing it. Just the fact that you are showing up, that you are strictly abiding by the basics and showing up and being there for kids, I love that, man. You are persevering and you will finish the race. So be encouraged and be realistic about what you can do. And remember that just as that last 100 for the 400 meters, you're just focusing on basic form. If you just focus on the basics of what you need to do between now and May or early June, and you're executing that, you are persevering. And if you persevere, then you win the race. You win the race. So that's what you can keep in mind is perseverance. How it can help you is just remember, focus on the basics, the basic functions, do them faithfully and strictly. And when you get to the end of the semester, you are victorious. I love it. So if you have a word of the week that you'd like me to break down, email it to me, adam@adamsaenz.com. And if I pick your word, then I will hook you up with some word of the week swag, books, and coffee. Okay, you guys, keep up the good fight, keep up the good work, and persevere to the end. I appreciate you. Thanks.